Hello, my name is Hannah, and this is my final synthesis video for the course Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion with Professor Reggie Stewart. Amongst the many things I learned throughout this course in the context of implementing DEI into higher education and organization, the first thing I learned is that DEI is certainly a messy, ever-evolving, and growing process. This is a constant practice that is difficult. And oftentimes, leaders who have the same initiatives and goals can come together and create a mess when they don't have a foundation of trust or understanding between one another. Sometimes these efforts can be positive and have the right intentions, but it can end up looking like the Avengers trying to assemble. Like the superheroes in this movie, oftentimes they can want the same things and have the same ultimate goals, but this can be really difficult to get to as they don't take the time to understand one another and make sure that everyone's needs are met within the establishment of new practices, systems, and programs to create a positive change. So please view this video, and instead of the context of saving the world, they are trying to implement a DEI program into Marvel.
I'm sorry, Nick. What were you lying?
I was wrong, Director. The world hasn't changed a bit.
Did you know about this?
You want to think about removing yourself from this environment, Doctor?
I was in Calcutta. I was pretty well removed.
Loki is manipulating you.
And you've been doing what exactly?
You didn't come here because I bat my eyelashes at you.
Yes, and I'm not leaving because suddenly you get a little twitchy. I'd like to know why S.H.I.E.L.D. is using the Tesseract to build weapons of mass destruction.
Because of him. Me. Last year, Earth had a visitor from another planet who had a grudge match that leveled a small town. We learned that not only are we not alone, but we are hopelessly, hilariously outgunned.
My people want nothing but peace with your planet.
But you're not the only people out there, are you? And you're not the only threat. The world's filling up with people that can't be matched. They can't be controlled.
Like you controlled the cube?
Your work with the Tesseract is what drew Loki to it, and his allies. It is a signal to all the realms that the Earth is ready for a higher form of war.
A higher form?
You forced our hand. We had to come up with
A nuclear deterrent. Because that always calms everything right down.
Remind me again how you made your fortune, Stark.
I'm sure if he still made weapons, Stark would be neck deep.
Wait, hold on. How is this now about me?
I'm sorry, isn't everything?
I thought humans were more evolved than this.
Excuse me, did we come to your planet and blow stuff
You
up?
understand
Treat your
this is
champions with
insane,
such
You're not my
mistrust.
Are you boys really
What
that
is it about me
naive?
that bothers you so
S.H.I.E.L.D.
much?
monitors
I'm
potential
curious.
threats.
Captain America's on the threat
We
one.
all are.
Your concern, Doctor.
You're on that list?
Let me
Are you
take-
above or below entities?
Stark, so help me God, you make one more
Threat, verbal threat. I feel threatened.
Show some respect.
If I need to put you down, then I will.
I mean, now that'll be a
That's why I'm bringing it up.
As you can see, the Avengers took their attention away from the objective, which ultimately caused chaos within the meeting. Throughout this course, I've brought it into the workplace by ensuring that I create space for conversations surrounding diversity, equity, and inclusion with the foundation of trust, honesty, and understanding for one another. I feel that the things that I've learned have translated into my work ethic and through the way that I treat my coworkers and also the type of organization which I choose to be a part of. A lot of the young leaders around me have also learned a bit from my personal education, and I think that this coursework and this practice is all about spreading the knowledge and ensuring that other people are inspired to reflect on themselves. I've asked my colleagues to share some of the conversations that we've had or they've had with others surrounding the topic of DEI and how it affects the workplace.
They're constantly trying to build out their teams with men and women, younger people and older people and different races and ethnicities. So I think a lot of teams look to build out a very diverse team, and it's talked about pretty frequently.
I would say that diversity is often something that's discussed in my workplace amongst people who are of the same background, and I also dive into this conversation with people who are of completely different backgrounds than my own, which is great, and everyone's very receptive and respectful, and I think it's a great conversation.
Encourages a wider range of people to flourish and be successful. Number 5, how often is there conversation about diversity at work? I would say very often. Companies often try to encourage talks of it by sending out emails, creating groups, having days or months or weeks dedicated to a minority group.
While there is certainly work to be done amongst myself and my colleagues, I am grateful to be part of a young group of leaders who are not only interested in the conversation, but also willing and able to make a shift and evolve the culture into a place where everyone can thrive. In DEI Deconstructed, Lily speaks to the importance of trust and cultivating this environment within your culture to ensure that everyone involved within the organization feels comfortable sharing their personal identities and opinions and beliefs in order to create impactful change within the organization and ultimately change that is beneficial to everyone who's a member. I feel lucky to have created a space with my coworkers and colleagues to share this trust, and I encourage each and every one of you to bring your learnings from this course into your workplace, as I know you are all capable of doing so and sharing your wonderful vlogs throughout the semester. Finally, my ultimate takeaways are that this work is hard, but it starts somewhere, and it starts with building a foundation of trust in creating a conversation within the community and the culture, and creating an impactful change once and only until everyone is included in that conversation. I'd like to point out the final chapter of Lily's book, where she speaks about the actionable items that we can take to implement DEI within our workplace, our community, our organizations. And one of the things she mentions is employee well-being. My final capstone project was implementing an employee well-being program within my workplace. And I quickly realized that employee well-being is also within the realm of diversity, equity, and inclusion, and that these conversations cannot be had without the existence of the other. Because well-being is about feeling comfortable and safe and capable of thriving in the environment you're in. Well, this can only happen if every single person in the organization feels this. And it's essential that we are taking into consideration every single individual's needs and wants so that they can thrive. So in taking this to the next level and creating this program, I've been able to take actionable steps towards diversity, equity, and inclusion in my workplace. And I'm grateful for the opportunity that this class has provided me. And while I may not always be part of the organizations that I am, I will always be committed to the knowledge and process of learning and unlearning all of the things surrounding diversity, equity, and inclusion, and creating spaces where everyone can thrive.